Welcome to Lollygabbin, the It's a Southern Thing chat show where we chat about Southern things. Today in this episode, I'm joined by Talia, Liz, and Ryan, and we are going to talk about Southern manners or Southern etiquette. We're going to take a deep dive, and maybe we'll end up a whole lot politer at the end of this. I don't know, more polite.
I'm in less polite.
Yeah, I'm aiming to figure out what I'm supposed to do and then break all of those
Take
rules.
away.
I'm going to maintain the level of politeness I already have.
No change. I love it. I love it.
I'm the most polite.
Intro dance!
So here on It's a Southern Thing, we do a lot of videos and content around manners and around respectful behavior. And these are things that, you know, they're very culturally specific. Not every culture has the same definition of what is respectful and what is manners. But in the South, we put a lot of emphasis on it because here we're like, you got to be polite. You got to be respectful.
Mm-hmm. It's expected of you.
It's expected. And so, like, you know, I guess we can just start by, like, you know, what are the things that are ingrained in us from we children that we grow up thinking, like, we must behave like this.
Saying thank you.
Please and thank you.
Yeah.
Opening the door for people right behind you, or holding the door for someone who's right. Like, if someone closes the door right in my face, I'm like, they were not raised right.
That one gets sticky because there's like a grace period of how far they are away to how long you open
I'll
the door.
straight up.
But if they're
listen,
right
if there's
behind
someone a football field away from me, I'm opening that door for them, and I'm waiting, and I'm
Holding,
standing.
and then they got to do the
And then
run.
they do the little shimmy run. I love watching the shimmy run.
Like, if they're carrying things, or if I've seen, like people out with strollers. If you
I'm
have
yelling,
a stroller,
hustle!
Faster!
If you have a stroller and, like, little kids, or you're trying to get something else through the door,
Yeah.
and it's going to be difficult for you,
yeah.
it's not hard. It takes, you know, at max, even if they're, you know, got to book it, it's less than a minute
I love
to,
opening a door
to get
for
that door for someone.
But
I
then
think you're getting
like,
something else.
there's also, like, you know, a lot of things centered around the table, the food table, the kitchen table, and how we address people. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir.
No hats at the table, which you mentioned before. No hats at the table. Your napkin in your lap.
No elbows on the table.
I'm guilty of. I'm a forearm.
I'm an elbow guy.
Oh, I'm a full elbow.
I put my forearms on the edge of the table
See,
often.
I can't be an elbow person because I'm left-handed, and then when you're left-handed at the table,
You're
it gets
all over everybody, yeah.
It gets
I
sticky.
do feel like that's harder when you're left-handed.
Yeah, you don't get away with elbows.
I put my face. I'm really tired, and I just.
It's just nap and shoveling food in.
Here in the South, like, you can't just say yes. You can't just say no. Like, and that was something that it's like sort of screamed at you early on. Like, we have these words that mean affirmative and negative, but you got to tack on something else at the end. It has to be like, yes, ma'am, yes, please. You can't just, even if somebody said, like, hey, do you want a cookie? And you just said yes.
That's rude.
That is
so
rude.
Say yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of often, especially if I'm speaking to someone who sometimes you can tell they don't want the ma'am or sir. Like, I feel like, especially more these days, it's happening more often where they're like, oh, please don't call me ma'am, or, whatever. Then I will, like, there's a polite way to say yes, or something that I ingrain in my children is just never respond with yeah.
Yeah.
That drives me crazy.
We all just did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, when you ask someone something, they're like, hey, do you want this? And they're just like, yeah. Like, excited, yeah, that's kind of thing. But if you're asking someone a question and they're like, yeah, or what? No.
The worst, my
Nix that
grandmother used to
immediately.
go insane. It was the immediate Southern jail.
Yes replaces that. Yeah. Like, if you don't hear someone, instead of being like, what? Huh? Just be like, yes.
It's either yes or you say sir or ma'am. Like, somebody says
sir,
something,
ma'am.
sir, ma'am. I
Or
didn't
my
understand
mom
you.
says pardon, which I think is adorable. She'll just say pardon. And I'm
She's on
like,
the next
okay.
level.
I do love that.
I said, okay, bring out the little teacups and get your pinkies out. What in the world? Pardon? I love it. And there was a time when I, like, she would do that, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna start doing that because I think that sounds adorable. But I could never get it into like my own like lexicon.
I did want to bring up this one. We talked about it earlier because we got some comments on a previous episode where we're all shoeless
Got my toes
indoors.
out.
Don't ask for anything more.
Got my toes
It's
out
because
right now.
we're shooting inside my home, and I was raised to believe that wearing shoes inside someone else's home is rude because your shoes are dirty. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's obviously like a crossover from growing up in an Asian household, but I think that is really interesting. I think it's happening more and more where, like, when I go to someone's house, I'm like, do you want me to take your shoes off? Yeah. No. Do you want me to take my shoes off?
Hey, do you want me to take
your shoes off?
That's the friend
Going up there to a stranger.
I'm like,
do you want me to take your
yes,
shoes
it's
off?
a full Cinderella in reverse. I'm like, let me take no. So, but I'll ask when I go to someone else's home. I'm like, would you like me to take my shoes off? And if they say no, I'll keep them on. And I think that's fine. But I do like to ask, especially if like people have carpet in their home.
Yeah.
Right?
Asking is the considerate thing to do. You know?
Yeah.
You don't know.
And
how-
asking is the polite thing to do.
It's polite.
Yeah.
And what is this episode called? Manners.
Manners.
We've come full circle.
Full circle
Thank you
in the
for
first
joining
few
us
minutes of this
for this
episode.
episode of Lollygabbin.
So here's like some of the things that I've been thinking about when it comes to manners is like this stuff is like ingrained in us from an early age. Like we're yelled at if we don't do certain things, or like we have to behave a certain way. So we have to. Whoa. Okay.
You weren't spanked for...
You didn't
and
get
so
a whooping?
like we start to see these behaviors as disrespectful. Like we see like if somebody's wearing a hat at the dinner table, you're like ooh, don't do that. Like that's disrespectful. Like where does that come from? Like why do we feel this way about something that seems so arbitrary?
I'm not sure. I was
courtesy.
I was just always
See, but why?
yelled at my
Why is it
grandmother for what I was doing wrong. And so at that point I knew, okay, this is what not to do. So I will therefore do the opposite. It was like when I was 6 and I would chew with my mouth open, and my grandmother was like, do not chew with your mouth open. She didn't really sound like that. Maybe.
She was an anime villain.
Yeah, she probably was.
There's just certain things. It's like I guess it's like cursing, where like this is just a sound that we make with our mouths, but it has this like this connotation or this like negativity associated with it. That's like, ooh, don't say that around people. It's disrespectful. It's just.
Well, it's honestly like going back to like language and saying "huh."
Yeah.
I think sounds harsher to my ears. Saying "huh" or "what" is harsher to my ears than a cuss.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
like if somebody was like "huh," I'd be like, "Excuse me, huh?"
And that's
But if they're cussing me out, I'm like, "Yeah, we're friends."
the huh. I think.
Tone matters.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
tone
tone
is
absolutely matters.
definitely a thing. Because when you say pardon, it's not like huh.
Pardon? But if you swung around like and you were like, pardon?
Yeah.
Ooh, we're about to fight.
I felt that.
Right.
But can you say huh in like a respectful way?
Let's role play.
Oh, I love a
Right?
It's got to
cute
come with an
little
eyebrow raise.
It does have to. You do. There is a big difference between Ooh, sorry. I looked right. But okay, but feel it. Is
We
there
all
a big
felt
difference
it.
between and
You know, the first one, you've given me given me a lot. So I was actually I was numb to it.
I feel like a lot of it is tone based because I've been a person that my parental units have said that I need to adjust my tone at times. If someone were to say "what" to me, but said it in a tone that was fine, it'd be fine.
But I've had adults give me the huh. Like as a in class as a student when you say something, the teacher says huh, and it kind of hits you weird.
Yeah,
You're
you're like, ooh.
I just want to be like,
Yeah.
never mind. I didn't have a
It
question.
sends a shiver down your spine. Yeah, where does it come
Is there a
from?
reason for that? Like, and we have this whole history of things that we just, I guess, understand now to be things that we should behave and act like elbows on the table, for example. It seems so arbitrary. Like, what does it matter if my elbow is on the table? Why is that a disrespectful act? How did we get there?
And
like,
in some cultures, it's not.
It's not.
In some cultures, it's disrespectful to not have your elbows on the table because it seems like you're
Yeah.
like
That's
holding
like
back
in some-
from eating the food.
in some cultures, it's it's okay to belch at the table.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. My family, we tend to like sing a lot. And we sing a lot at the dinner table. Usually someone will say something and it'll trigger, like someone being like, oh, there's a song. And so we just start singing. And my mom always kind of blanches at it because when she was growing up, they were like, that was a strict rule to not sing at the table.
Oh.
Really?
Which I was like, that's so specific.
It is.
But it's like, it's something we do all the time and we don't. So it's like, it's generational also. Because all that you talking about the yes ma'am and no sir, it's like, I don't want to be called ma'am, like an age gender thing. It's just like, I don't want that. But it's like, if I were to speak to, an older lady, you wouldn't want to not because you're afraid they're going to get offended on the other side of things.
I appreciate it when my kids' friends do it because to me that just shows that they are like, I don't need them to do it, but if they've done it once, to me it does seem respectful. And then I'm always like, you can just call me this.
Like, and you kind of go through like the pomp and circumstance of like the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, ma'am. And
it's
you're
almost like
listen.
the greet, like you work your way up from it. So, when you meet like your mom's friends growing up, when we talked about before, like when you meet them, it's like, oh, this is my mom's friend, Mrs. Smith. And then later you get to call her
Miss Kathy.
Miss Kathy. And then later you could get to call her Miss Cece. And then later, it's
Calf.
Yep. It's just, but first it's ma'am. You just, you have to work your way through that familiarity over time.
Right.
See, I can't do that. I can't like work myself up because once you're Miss Williams,
that's who you are.
That forever. One of my teachers back in 4th grade reached out to me. Still call her by her last name. She was like, "No, call me by my first name." I said, "Can't cross the line.
You don't have a first name."
I was like, "That's uncharted territory for me. You're gonna make me feel weird." You are always like, I'm still in 4th grade right now.
Yeah, it's the same way for me. I mean, even my mom's friends, they'll always be like Miss So and So.
Yeah.
I call your dad Dr. Marty, even though he does keep asking me not to.
Talia, please stop.
Is that bad
But
manners?
I like it. It makes him feel more like he's like my adopted uncle. He's Dr. Marty.
Yeah. Well, and sorry, I'm talking about my mom a lot in this episode. She's gonna
Well,
love
maybe it's
it.
because she
This
has
is for
amazing
you.
manners.
She's an incredible woman. But she is a teacher at the high school that I went to. And so a lot of her, and of course I didn't call her Miss Dial, like I called her mom. But so many of her friends and the people that she hangs out with from school were my teachers. And so at that point they were Miss Smith, like Mr. Jenkins or whatever. So but now like we're kind of peers. And so it's weird. It was like, it's almost like I like go to address them by their first name and I'm like, is this okay? Because like you gave me a C in chemistry one time. Is this fine? Like calling my chemistry teacher Neil.
Oh,
Whoa.
And that is his real name. So
If he had given me a C, then I absolutely would have been like, "Sup, Neil?"
yeah. I feel like
what up, Neil?
the manners
hope
go
you
out
watch
the
this
window when
video.
you've been done wrong.
There's got to be a mutual respect.
There has to be a mutual respect at a certain point. When it's two adults at that point, then the manners can go out the window.
But, I will say, as a former teacher, grades are just a reaction to the work. They didn't give you that.
Oh my gosh, I've never heard this side of you before.
And we all just got a B- right now.
Are you grading us right
no,
now?
I understand.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think I ended up with like an A- in that class.
So are we...
Well, sorry, I have
you
one
go.
more thing to
You
say
go.
about
Yeah.
dining. Did y'all grow up in households where everyone had to be like seated with their plate before anyone started eating?
No.
It didn't start that way, but then it sort of got that way, and then smaller children were entered into the equation, and then now it like has reverted back to, oh no, eat. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
just
gonna
eat
co-
whatever
yeah.
because it's gonna be forever. Yeah.
I think it also depends on how many people are there. Like if this is a giant, like a potluck family gathering, obviously you just eat when you get your food and you find a seat wherever you can because there's 40 people there. Or like the Korean side of my family gatherings, 100% different. That was very, very particular because everyone is getting their food in order as well. A very specific order, and youngins are last and just get out of the way. But I think if it's normal, like here, if it's just my family, just the 4 of us sitting at the dining table, I'm like pointing at the fireplace.
Where the dining
table's behind it. Especially if one of us is cooked, you wait until we're all sitting.
Yeah.
And we're all sitting together, and then we eat.
I
See,
wait.
that's something I learned later on in life. I did not know that was a rule. Like my family, it was always, oh, just make your plate. And even on my mom's side of the family, if we would have a big gathering of people, we would pray over the food, then everybody make their food, go eat. Like we weren't waiting on anybody. Yeah, I don't know if that's a Black thing, African American thing. I don't know.
Well, that's what we do now. Like
Okay.
for like any like even not that we like always pray over our food.
It actually is blessed independent because
It-
the big
yeah.
family gatherings, someone says the prayer before everyone gets
Before
their food.
anyone gets
Yeah.
any
But at
food.
a smaller
yeah.
table, when you're sitting together, you all sit down and then you bless the food
it.
and then you eat. So I think that is a Southern
Yeah.
culture thing
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah, I wait now. Now, whenever I get food and I'm in a large gathering, I'll wait. And, you know, I'm always told, like, oh, go ahead and eat. And I'm like, okay.
I won't be doing
You're not gonna trick
Well,
me.
So and this also transitioning slightly to restaurants and like everyone having their like being served. I had a friend in college who had actually like done etiquette classes in high school. And so she was just like telling, she was like, yeah, all these like crazy rules and stuff. But she said that there's a specific number. If there is more than 5 people at the table, it is considered rude to not start eating when you get your food.
Whoa.
So it's like a
Oh.
very specific number. And so you look around and you're like, well, there's 6 people here, so once you get your food, you're supposed to start eating. But if there was less, if there's 5 or less, you wait until everyone has their food before you start.
I also feel really weird, though, eating when nobody else has food. Like, I don't know why, but it just feels like
Well, it feels like everybody's like kind of looking at
watching
you.
you.
Yeah.
Also, I eat really fast. So I'm going to be done, and everyone else is going to get their food, and then I'm just like,
I think it
just
also
sit here.
depends on what you have. Like
Yeah.
if you have a meal where it's fine for it to sit for a minute, then I'll just wait anyways and chat with other people until their food is coming.
Right.
Because I'm like, it's not going to affect like if it's a Caesar salad or like whatever it is, it can sit for a minute. But if I have a food where I'm like, if I give this 5 more minutes and it's going to start to congeal,
Oh,
I gotta get it in.
I'm going to eat it now.
what do you order
And
that
I'm
congeals?
a slow, anything that has too much butter, after a while, like if this is going to change color.
so with all these manners and things, as we grow up and like learn about these and try to incorporate these into our behaviors, does it seem like a lot of the times, especially like a bit in the beginning, we do this out of fear? Like, is that how we
100%.
learn manners? It's
Yeah,
like
100%.
from fear?
I'm not being polite out of the goodness of my heart. I'm doing it out of sheer fear of being like ostracized from the Southern community. This is 100%. I just want to be accepted. And I'm going to work through that with therapy.
Okay, you started in one realm and ended in another because at first I was like, it's absolutely not a fear for me. I don't care what anyone thinks. But then you went that way and it's like, it's how you're perceived.
Yeah.
And I do, for the most part, like that is important to me. I don't know where I'm going with
You're going to
this.
get yelled
My
at if you
brain.
don't do it.
Well, like I
That's
don't
the fear.
Yeah, I don't care about getting yelled at, but it's like
It's the fear of being.
it's being perceived as rude.
Yeah.
If someone, like, if I were having an interaction with someone and then they left that interaction and were like, that person was rude.
Yes.
Because listen, y'all, something about me, I can't fix my face. I just can't. I every emotion I have shows directly on
I
this
love
face.
your loud face.
My loud face.
As a fellow loud facer, I appreciate another
but
one.
I
I'll
have
just
been
say
told.
she's very sweet on the inside.
No, but I've been told by multiple people throughout my life that like when they met me, they thought I was mean. And I was like, why? Like and it was like it was a thing for me where I was like, I have no memory of like feeling antagonistically towards this person, and it was just like something in my tone or something that like I didn't quite get right, like in the script of performing, you know, like politeness, and then they were like, oh well, I'm really glad I got to know you because when I met you I thought you were mean.
She thought I was
What
mean.
helps that you, because you were 100% the first time. I just want you to know, the first time I met you, my impression basically was this kid.
Well, I was fully a child when we
I was
met.
like, this kid is super cool, and I really want her to like me.
oh.
And honestly, 6
take
years
that.
later, I still kind of feel that way.
Wow, you feel that way about me too, right?
Oh
Okay. Cool.
But so when I was growing up, it was one of those things where like I didn't think that I was behaving in a weird way or like in a disrespectful way, but it would always like if we ran into some of my parents' friends at the grocery store and they were talking and I was expected to act a certain way in the conversation, but maybe I was shy or like distracted or something like that. We'll have our interaction and I think nothing of it, and then we'll get back in the car and Mom was like,
why are you so mean?
you were kind of rude to.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my
Oh,
God.
I was like, what did I do? When they say something, you need to say like this back, like, and it's like, oh, okay, now they think I'm then in your head, like, oh, Miss Jeannie thought I was rude, and so that's I think where I think the fear comes from is like fear of people perceiving you as what you don't want to be. I
But
don't wanna be
it's
rude.
like, but it's like, and as we've touched on, it's like some of these rules are arbitrary. Some people don't follow them. Some
Yeah.
people like put more weight on ones than other, and it's hard like as an individual to be like, which ones do you subscribe to?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I don't know
engage.
what your like definition of being polite is, and so it's like. And that's why, like I think open communication is important, and you can be like when you step into someone's home, like shoes off or on, like that's something
do you
that you
want?
can just ask. But there's something I was gonna say, something that you were talking about, and I thought, no, but like interacting with other people, period, is hard. But no, I'm remembering, I just remembered this. In 5th grade, we did like it was kind of like an etiquette class. Like, I think we learned like how to set a table and it may have been earlier than 5th grade because 5th grade seems kind of late for that. But then I remember that there was like a manners portion of it. And it was like when you are asked, how are you? You respond with how you are and then you ask how they are. Mm-hmm. And that like, I remember like, opened up a whole world of like being good at conversation for me.
Yeah.
Because I tried it and I was like, oh, this is easy. Like now that I have truly, because like then I had like the script and then I could apply that to any, and so like I'm going around and all of these adults think I'm super mature because I'm the one going, hi, how are you? Or they're like, how are you? And I'm like, I'm so good. How are you? And then I'm this little 10-year-old and they're like very impressed with me.
See,
and
that's-
oh my
she's so
God.
well-behaved.
It made me feel so good. And I was like, I love having that like, that rule and that being pretty much across the board, that's something you can do. And it,
This is
makes
something
people
that-
think you're polite.
This is something that I learned way later. This is not like because like especially as a kid, like it's not like it wasn't like a rudeness thing. There's just I just didn't care. Like like
You're a little kid, yeah.
like I don't care how you are. That sounds really mean, but like if we're engaging in this like superficial like I was never really into like small talk and like superficial sort of idle chit chat or anything like that. So like if somebody asked me how I was, I would answer, and that would be the end of the conversation. I'd be like, I'm good, and then I wouldn't think I need to like turn this back around.
Yeah,
until, like,
need to keep the conversation
But
going.
and sometimes still I catch myself. I'm like, I'm good. How are you?
You
and
like flip it.
but like you said, it does like it makes me feel like I'm doing it.
And I'm like, it's like a little hack
Yeah.
to like interacting with other human beings.
But it's kind of just like a general greeting because, I mean, truthfully, no one answers that question honestly.
Right.
No one's ever going to be like, hi, how are you? And you're like, man, this morning was rough.
Yeah.
Like, you're
How are you?
Are you sure?
Great.
Because I get it thrown at me all the time. I do the hack, say, hey, how are you? And I go, oh, good, how are you? And then they unload everything.
Okay, first of all, when you called me yesterday, that was totally different. Okay,
You were like,
I do say, I answer that question honestly when it's close friends that I communicate with often. Because when you're not saying, hey, how are you, as what, like a general hi, like it's because when you're asking your close friends, you actually do want to know how they're doing.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I was fully talking about strangers. You guys have never had strangers just unload their life secrets.
Every
Every
person at the
so
store.
often it happens.
Yeah.
Every
That's
cashier.
right. We talked about this last time, and it's like
We did.
Apparently, we just all have faces where it's like people just want to unload.
Sometimes, depending on who you are, if you ask me how I am, I'll say, do you want like the polite answer or do you want the real
Do you
answer?
want the honest
that
answer?
implies that I'm not great, but I'll tell you I am.
Speak on that.
But then you've batted the ball out back into their court.
Yeah.
Batted the ball back into their court. God, I'm mixing metaphors.
I followed. So, in that same vein, as far as interactions and talking to other people, and also because fellow loud face, do you feel pressured to look a certain way when talking to people? Because I have to do it all the time, because I know my relaxed face, my very relaxed, and I'm happy, I'm content, I'm just existing, but my I'm in existence face is this.
Yeah.
And then people are like, what did I do wrong? And I'm like, nothing. I'm fine right now. This is just my face. And then if someone's talking to me, I have to remember that I'm this, and I have to be like, oh,
Yes.
and now I'm listening to you.
Put on your rearrange.
My relaxed face.
I have to give myself wrinkles to make you more comfortable.
My relaxed face makes people ask me if I'm okay. It's like,
To be
you're
fair,
so
you
sad.
usually don't look okay.
see, it's just I'm just relaxed.
Adam, we're constantly worried about you.
I'm just relaxed. Here I am.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
whisper to Liz, I'm like, did you poke Adam and see if he'll move?
Because I made him sit in this chair.
Well, we kind of have a running joke with me. Like, I absolutely go this. And we have a running joke with me because during, like, meetings we'll have with work and, like Zoom meetings and stuff, I do not even throw on I sit there and I am fully falling asleep. Like, it looks like I'm falling asleep. And I have had so many people just screenshot
I got
me
I got a bunch.
Oh, I have an
got
album
so
of
many.
Liz faces.
of me just looking so miserable and so bored in a meeting that I'm not feeling that way. That's just what I look
There's
like.
hand action too, though. There's sometimes it's like,
And with the side, you can't forget the side where she's like,
Okay, maybe it's just I'm not doing enough to mask that I'm
no.
bored
When
and
I see you on Zoom and it's like, I'm like Liz is bored.
I do a lot of
she'll
face
like,
touching.
her head will go to the lower corner of the screen and she's like,
Yeah.
those are one of my
Well,
favorites.
it's usually and the thing is, like, I can only, especially in like Zoom meetings or whatever, I feel like I can only make my face into an acceptable, like, engage if I am looking directly at me. I cannot be looking at anyone else or it, like, just goes back to bored. Like, I have to be looking at me and just being like, okay.
Engaged.
And yes.
This brings up an interesting thing about the whole fix your face thing, because I think at some point it's detrimental. I think fix your face is sort of going against maybe ways we should behave or like ways we should just display emotion. Because when people say fix your face, it's because you're being disrespectful, you're
Right.
looking at somebody a certain way, and you shouldn't. You're almost kind of hiding your emotions at that point. You're like
Yeah.
suppressing.
Well,
I love
mean,
hiding my emotions. It should always be a guessing game.
Well, see,
How I feel right now.
you know, that leads into a point of how I was brought up to be raised. A big part of being, you know, a minority in the South is you were raised to be a non-threat. And so it's almost ingrained so far into my personality. Now, you know, you guys tease me and you're like, Ryan's so happy-go-lucky. And I said, this was never original Ryan. Ryan was actually very much introverted. But, you know, you have to put on this, not like facade, but appearance to be a non-threat to go day to day. So you smile, you always raise your eyebrows. I do it when I'm walking at a park or when I'm walking in a grocery store. I make eye contact with people, I smile, and I like wave or casually gesture just because I don't want to be perceived as something that can be considered dangerous. Mind you, we might have to fully cut that.
I don't think we should, but I do need a second.
Oh, I made Talia cry. I've been on the streak of making Talia cry.
I'm fine.
2 days in a row.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, and absolutely, like, the manners part plays into that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what are you being perceived as? What are you being, like, what are other people thinking about you beyond just, like, if you're being rude or polite? Like, it's obviously, like, people are inferring.
Sorry.
Did I mess up my eyeliner?
No, I don't think I did.
But people are inferring certain things about you because of the way you carry yourself and the way that you, like,
Yeah. And
have
so-
your face arranged or the words you're saying or whatever.
But is
Well,
that not like the whole point of manners? If we're gonna like distill it down to like what is manners, it's not what you do, it's how somebody reacts to what you do.
Right. Well, and
So,
that's why
like,
when
You
you
can't
asked the
predict
question,
people.
is it fear-based? I said, oh, well, for me, 100%. It
Yeah.
comes from a place of fear. And I have to, like, now, you know, I'm older. I go to therapy. We're good. The mentals are good, baby. But when I was younger, it was out of a place of fear of being at the wrong place, the wrong time, being perceived a certain way. And so I learned how to be, quote unquote, a polite and well-mannered child / person, but it was not because of out of want to. Now, if you get into the basics of wanting to be a good person, I think everybody wants to be a good person, but following everybody's personal rules and guidelines on what is polite and what's not polite, I don't think that's translucent
Yeah.
in that way.
Well, it's a series of expected behaviors based on whatever.
Yeah.
But you can still be a good person. You can still be polite and say, "Huh." You can still be like, you know, like that. It means nothing.
Yeah.
It is a method of communication that says, "I didn't understand what you said. Can you please repeat that?" And the way I just said that was like a very formal, like, "I did not understand what you said.
did not
Could you
understand
please repeat that?" As opposed
pardon?
to like, "Huh." But it's the same message.
Right.
We're all agreed that we're going to start saying pardon now, like super dramatic. That's-
Pardon.
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 I want to get a pencil thin mustache. And like, pardon.
Actually, might look kind of good.
But it really is like the expectation of like how somebody responds. Like if I say "huh," somebody reacts to that and says,
Yeah.
"You're rude. You're rude for saying that."
Yeah.
It's like that's just your perception.
But then that person, if they call you out and they say, well, that was rude, I think that's rude.
that is rude.
And now we're having multiple rudeness going on.
It's a rude off.
Oh, that reminds me. That reminds me of something that I guess is kind of manners. That's always like ingrained. You know, if you don't have anything nice to say,
Come and sit by me.
don't say it. No, like,
No, but yes, but no, but yeah.
but like we've always, you know, that's something we learned growing up from grandmas and moms. Like if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything. So you just, which
Keep it to yourself.
you know, I guess this is something thing, but also isn't because we have a comment section.
Ooh,
Yeah.
boy.
Here.
Let's talk
Here it
about
is.
manners, y'all.
Here it is.
Y'all in trouble.
We read the things that you write to us. You realize that?
And typing and pushing enter takes a lot more effort
Yes, it
than
does.
speaking. So
No one likes my hair. No one likes my body. No one likes what I wear.
I like
I've
your
got
hair.
news for you. My hair does whatever it wants to, and I just go with it.
Yeah. It's just a lot of the things which like and okay, we're a bunch of internet creators complaining about comments. Boo hoo. But it's like those are things that I hope nobody would say to someone in person.
yeah.
It's like, and like, it's the thing, it's like, what does politeness look like behind a screen?
Yeah, why
And, like,
does
everything goes out
Southern
the
manners
window.
go out the window on a comment section?
Yeah.
I'm confused because
Absolutely. If you would not
day
say
to
it to
day,
someone's face.
yeah, day to day, everybody's being super polite, but then the second you get on Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, you name it, all of a sudden Twitter fingers happen and devil horns grow and
I think they don't realize not y'all, the people who quite often, I will say the bulk of our comments are very
They're so
supportive
kind.
and kind
So
and loving.
Yeah.
But every
But
now
it's that
and
thing,
then,
it's like where the kind ones don't ever stick out in our minds. It's the mean ones. It's the
Yeah.
ones that are like really, cut deep that are the ones that stand out. So for anyone who has commented nice things, thank
We
you
love you.
so much.
Yes.
And we
We
love you so
appreciate you
much,
guys
yes.
so much,
Like,
but-
this is why we do what we do.
you're right. You get 70 good comments, and then there's that one bad one that just sticks with you. It
Yeah.
cuts.
well, I think what they don't realize is that we are the ones that read them.
Mm-hmm.
This is not just like you spitting out random words into the ether. Like, we are real people who go and read those comments.
But even if you thought you were just putting something out there, that's the thing about like if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. Which is, again, it's like I guess translate or sticks with me because if I see something, a piece of content on the internet, and it disagrees with me, I'm just gonna move. I'm just gonna keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. You just go on.
Okay.
It's like, oh, I don't feel the need to then like take my hands to the keyboard and like type words
Yeah.
and say like, not your best.
You're also giving your time and your energy to that.
Well, that about wraps up our discussion on Southern manners. Obviously, there's a lot more we could say and talk about. So let's continue the discussion in the comment section. Comment and let us know what your favorite way of showing kindness is and what you think is, I should have just stopped there.
That was good.
Oh,
It was good. It was good. It was good. It was good.
Everybody clap for Ada.
Good job, Adam. Yeah. Everybody clap in the comments for Adam.
Outro dance.
You guys aren't dancing with me and Talia. Come on, dance with
I'm
us.
bobbing my head.
Yeah, that counts.
I'm just relaxed.
Hey.
Hey, it's for horses. You should click here to subscribe and click here to watch more of our videos.